As we enter the month of June and the war on reality, how do Christians respond to Pride Month if we're asked why we don't have pride flags or won't sponsor the pride parades?
I would ask the question, why should we support those things? I would ask the person who asked me, why do you think we should? Because I'm not against people, but I am against certain behaviors. And so are you if you say that I ought to be celebrating Pride Month, and I'm not, you somehow think I'm wrong. Why are you against that behavior? You see, everybody has a moral standard. The only question is, where do you get your moral standard from? I don't want it to just be my opinion. I want to appeal to the standard beyond myself. And God has given us boundaries in which we need to live, not for his benefit, but for ours. Look, you just can't do whatever you want without consequence. Men were made for women. Women were made for men. And the best way to perpetuate and stabilize society is for that relationship to be celebrated legally and morally over every other relationship. Because without that, civilization breaks down. In fact, we just did a podcast with my friend 𝗧𝗔𝗫, who has written a book and also a documentary called The Last Stand. And The Last Stand, he is saying we are in right now because J.D. Unwin, who was an Oxford anthropologist in 1934, wrote a book that pointed out that 86 civilizations, 100% of the time, after they codified what he called complete sexual freedom, those civilizations all were destroyed. And what Seth is saying, and I think he's right, is the year we began to codify total sexual freedom was 1973. Because that's when abortion on demand became the law of the land through the Supreme Court. That's when the APA said homosexual behavior was no longer a disorder. That's when the Endangered Species Act took place. And you know who was not part of the endangered species? Unborn children. Unborn eagle eggs were. Unborn snails were, right? Unborn condors were, but not unborn children. And there's one other event, I'm trying to think of what it was, in 73, that codified, that said by law, sexual deviance is a good thing. So if we go 2073, so far the record is 86-0. By 2073, America may be over, unless we make a last stand, unless we try and turn back to reality. And that's what the War on Reality book's all about. That's what the Last Stand conference is about. It's going to be in Denver next week. I'll be there for the first night. And that's what his documentary's about. By the way, those of you here and those of you out there, you can take that movie, The Last Stand, and show it at your church for free. Just go to the Last Stand Film. I think it's laststandfilm.com. If I have that wrong, just go to our podcast we just released. It's in the show notes. All right? So I would say I'm not going to celebrate the downfall of civilization. By the way, pride is one of the, 7 deadly sins? Yeah, pride comes before the fall. What are you proud of? You can be proud you're made in the image of God. You can be proud that God decided to create you, but we ought not be proud of behaviors that are sinful, hurtful, and will degrade a society. Now, people get all angry with you when you say that. You know what they're doing? They are claiming you're wrong. Why is it okay if I say, or why is it okay if you say I'm wrong, but it's not okay if I say you're wrong? Notice how it's a one-way street? So I think you need to point this out. I would ask people, by what standard are you saying this is a good thing? Well, it's all about love. What do you mean by love? What does that mean? By the way, do you realize, of course you realize, sometimes you just got to think about it, that if love is always expressed sexually, imagine if you sexualized every relationship you had. You would destroy your relationships. Sex is a very powerful and intimate activity that is only meant to be taken place between a man and a woman inside the covenant of marriage for a reason, because it is so powerful. Sex is like fire. You put it in your fireplace, it's wonderful, it'll warm you. You get it anywhere else in your house, it will burn your house down. And that's what J.D. Unwin found. And that's what common sense will tell you. But people don't have common sense anymore. They run their lives more by slogans rather than by truth. And they suppress the truth to go their own way. And that's what Romans 1 is all about. So it's not hateful to tell somebody that you're going down the wrong road. That's actually loving. Does your doctor hate you when he tells you have cancer? No. He has concern for you. He's trying to save you. So complete sexual freedom is a cancer that will destroy not only your family, but it's going to destroy civilization. Sorry, that's what the evidence shows.